I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar Paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
Despite this famous speech from Oliver Stone's Wall Street, extolling the virtues of greed, excess, and capitalism, no one could ever accuse Stone or the film itself of doing the same thing. Indeed, it's because of Gordon Gekko's sermon that we know the opposite is true. If we're all greedy, we can win together. That's the essence of Gekko's message. Of course, Oliver Stone and the rest of us know that in a connected capitalist society, greed always works at the expense of others. And when later in the film we watch Bud Fox learn how Gekko planned to gain at the expense of his father, the moral hypocrisy of Gekko and the film's central condemnation of capitalist excess is laid bare. But that was then, and this is now.
And I'm zoning, I think I'm possessed. It's an omen, I keep it 300 like the Romans, 300 bitches with the Trojans. Baby, be living in the moment. I've been a menace for the longest, but I ain't finished. I'm devoted, and you know it, and you know it.
26 years after Oliver Stone made Wall Street, Martin Scorsese gives us The Wolf of Wall Street. Compare Gordon Gekko's moral defense of excess with these comments made by Scorsese's protagonist, Jordan Belfort.
I was selling garbage to garbage men and making cash hand over fist. So I was selling them shit.
Fuego!
But the way I looked at it, their money was better off in my pocket. I knew how to spend it better.
Belfort, unlike Gekko, makes no moral argument for his greed. He knows what he's doing is wrong, he does it anyway. There's no great tragedy haunting his steps like the downfall of Gordon Gekko or the extreme paranoia and eventual disappearance of one of Scorsese's other great protagonists, Henry Hill from Goodfellas. Belfort does go to prison for a short time, but as he soon discovers...
See, for a brief, fleeting moment, I'd forgotten I was rich. And I lived in a place where everything was for sale.
Belfort's crimes are met with minimal punishment, both physical and psychological. And just to twist the knife on that fact, Scorsese has the man himself, the actual Jordan Belfort, introduce his character as
the single baddest motherfucker I have ever met.
So maybe it's no surprise that The Wolf of Wall Street was raked through the mud by a number of critics for glorifying, apologizing, endorsing capitalist excess. Scorsese's film certainly doesn't offer the negative critique of tragedies like Wall Street or Goodfellas. It doesn't even offer a satirical critique of late capitalism, such as you might see in films like American Psycho, where Patrick Bateman's smooth, almost enlightened exterior is undermined by his psychopathy, self-loathing, and psychological breakdown. A satirical critique of capitalism would require the movie itself, in its tone and themes, to ridicule or expose the improper behavior it displays. But The Wolf of Wall Street gives us no such thing. The joke is never on Jordan Belfort, it's on everyone else, his wife, his friends, his enemies, and the world at large. We're not made aware of some unknown underwriting sadness. Quite the opposite. Belfort is perfectly disaffected by the scummy ways he makes his money and the debaucherous lifestyle he spends it on. His personal philosophy echoes that of Alien from Harmony Korine's Spring Breakers.
Some people, they want to do the right thing. I like doing the wrong thing. Everyone's always telling me, yo, you gotta change. I'm about stacking change, yo. Stacking change. That's it, money.
Both films are prime examples of what film critic Izzy Black has called the new cinema of excess. Films in which greed and excess are explored, but never for a moment condemned. Indeed, a key feature of this kind of cinema is that the film itself partakes in the excess it shows. Nowhere is this more clear than in Wolf, which runs for 3 hours and moves from montage to montage in ever crazier flights of hedonism. But Just because Scorsese refuses to condemn Belfort doesn't mean that he's, by extension, endorsing him either. Excess is excess. It's exhausting. It's too much, too fast. Scorsese has no illusions about this. His extensive use of close-up reveals the vulgarity of this way of living. His montages exhaust rather than glamorize. The hedonism to which we're privy is less attractive than disorienting, less desirable than overwhelming.
I will not die sober! Get those fucking loads!
The Wolf of Wall Street is a descriptive project, learning from its moralizing predecessors, even the predecessors in Scorsese's own filmography. There were no Bud Foxes to take down the Gordon Geckos of the 80s. There wasn't even anyone to take down Belfort's ilk in the 90s. The folly of late capitalism got worse and worse, not hitting its lowest point until 2008 in the financial recession. And it's unclear, despite new regulations, if any of those lessons were really taken to heart. The reason for this is because the excesses of Jordan Belfort are our excesses. Like him, we're too enlightened not to know the expense at which our gazillion products are made. Like him, we don't really make an attempt at moralizing away our involvement in that system. We just don't care. The disgust we feel for Belfort is hypocritical. The indignation we inflict on him is less a righteous act than a self-righteous delusion. Scorsese refuses to participate in that delusion anymore, and the result is a film so unapologetically excessive that the audience might finally realize that the screen they thought they were watching was, in fact, a camera.
I'm a road